Okay. On the surface, the Samsung Galaxy S7 and the S7 Edge haven't changed a lot since their predecessors, but they actually have, both inside and out. We're taking a look at the S7 here and the S7 Edge on the left, and there is a big difference between the two. On the right-hand side, the S7 has a 5.1-inch display. This has a 5.5-inch display, but it's also pretty easy to use with one hand. One has an edge, a dual-edge design, like the S6 Edge before it, and one does not. But they both have a contoured back, so it makes them easy to use with one hand, similar to the Galaxy Note 5. While we're here, let's take a look at the design. These are both very thin. You can see that the camera module has been smoothed out, which is really nice. And one big complaint that Samsung answered is that the SIM card tray doubles as a micro SD card slot, so you'll be able to expand that storage, which is really nice. The other really big change is something that you don't see on the Surface, which is the fact that both of these are water resistant up to 5 feet for 30 minutes, so you'll have no problem dipping these in the fountain or getting them wet by the sink. If we had to pick one phone between the two, even though they have very similar functionality, it would be the S7 Edge, because of the fact that they, not only do you get a bigger display, but you also can do more with the Edge display than before. So if you swipe in from here, you can read news. You don't no longer have to look along the edge of the screen here in a weird orientation. You can see more apps at once because they're taking up more real estate, which is great. So now you get 2 rows. And this is really cool because you'll be able to, with TaskEdge, you'll be able to create all sorts of macros, including the ability to compose messages to your boss or take a selfie. And so just the ability to create all sorts of shortcuts is really cool. Like before, you were going to have the People Edge, and they're going to be partnering with CNN, Yahoo, and others to get your news right on the screen. When the screen is off on both phones, you are going to get a always-on display, and you're going to have your choice of what you want to do. You could use a clock, a calendar, you'll be able to get your notifications, and you're probably wondering about battery life. They're saying it's going to take about 1% battery life per hour, which is really not a lot. And the other good thing about both of these phones in terms of battery life is that you're getting a bigger battery inside both phones. So 3,000 milliamps here, 36 milliamps here. If you're wondering about specs, the S7 Edge and the S7 both are going to have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor on the inside, 4 gigs of RAM, which give you a lot more performance, not just in terms of CPU, but especially in terms of gaming, and there's going to be a gaming mode built in. Let's talk about the camera, because that's really a big improvement in this device. They're using a direct focus pixels as opposed to what they've used, or dual pixel focus, a technology that Canon has used in the past and that they're using now for their DSLR. And the big difference that you'll notice between these two phones is just how fast it takes to focus when you're zeroing in on an image. So on the left-hand side here, you see that we have the iPhone 6 Plus, 6S Plus, which is our top camera phone right now. And on the right-hand side, you have the S7 Edge. And you can see that not only are you getting a sharper image on the right-hand side, that it's also faster to focus when we change what's going on in the background. So look on the left-hand side and how long it takes for the iPhone to focus. And then on the right-hand side, you have the S7. And then when we go back, it's instantaneous on the right-hand side. And you can see that the iPhone on the left is just struggling with that. Samsung gave up a little bit in terms of megapixels. You have 12 megapixels here as opposed to 16 megapixels in the past. But the fact that it's not only faster autofocus, 2 to 3 times faster than before, but also letting in 90%, more than 90% more light, because you're getting a wider aperture at f1.7 as opposed to f1.8. So when you add all of these things together, the S7 Edge and the S7 look like they're going to be 2 of the most powerful, fastest, and most versatile phones on the market. If we had to pick one between these two, we know that the Edge is going to probably cost more, but you can do more with the Edge. So that's going to be our pick. This is just our first look at these 2 phones, though. This is Mark Spoonauer with Tom's Guide. Stay tuned for our full review of the S7 and the S7 Edge.